Hello Minigame fans, it's the last full week of the absolutely stacked month of April of new indie game releases, and it does not disappoint. So let's begin with Shadow of the Depth, a top-down action roguelite that looks absolutely sick, and if you're hardcore into indie games, you might think that this is from the developer of Devil Slayer Raksasi, given the similar art style, but it is in fact from the developer of another roguelite in Otherworld Legends, so it is interesting to see their take on the idea. I love fishing as a mechanic in games, from Stardew Valley to Hades, Dredge to Dave the Diver and more, so a game that appeals to that exact sensibility is Whisker Waters, a self-styled fishing RPG in which you play as a cat. It's a whimsical fishing journey that sees you helping the locals and exploring the different regions, with the core fishing system being more in-depth as compared to an arcade title, but not as complex as a fishing simulator, and simply looks like a delight. This one's for indie game developers. The free indie game marketing resources are ready, so sign up via the link in the description below to get it in your mailbox. This next title has the potential to be huge, since Bellwright, by rule of thumb estimation, has about 460,000 Steam wishlists, which is a lot of built-in interest, and is also a medieval crafting city builder title, with there being plenty of appetite for the theme. See Chivalry 2, Mordhau, Valheim and Enshrouded as examples, with this game leaning more in the direction of the latter two games mentioned, but without fantasy elements like monsters or magic as far as I can tell. It's a sandbox village builder, but from a third-person camera, with all the resource gathering and crafting aspects, and sure looks to be another worthy addition to the year of the crafting game. The release of Virtua Unlimited project did creep up on me as well, since this pixel art action platformer was on my list of upcoming games to watch, but then the developers kind of went radio silent, so I had no idea what the progress was like, and lo and behold, apparently it will be out later this week. This is inspired by the Mega Man Zero games, so it's classic side-scrolling action platforming action, in which defeating bosses will allow you to gain their powers, with elemental weaknesses to exploit, so the order in which you face the bosses is critical. There is a little bit of Metroidvania style exploration in this, with special abilities that allow you to access certain parts of the level, but it is distinct individual levels as far as I can tell. Oh, and you are also playing as VTubers in this virtual world, hence the title, but the store page description does seem a little strange in spots, so watch out for the quality of localization.
100 heroes unite. One objective at heart.
Of course, the release of Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes is of note, since this is the spiritual successor to the Suikoden series of JRPGs, coming to us from the original developers who broke free of Konami, resulting in a hugely successful Kickstarter campaign and even a spin-off action platformer named Eiyuden Chronicle Rising. This game has had a share of ups and downs, with the original creator of the Suikoden series being involved in this project, but sadly passing away earlier this year and did not get to see the release of the game. So if you have fond memories of Suikoden, this might be of interest. However, I have heard mixed things about this game, of game-breaking bugs and the main three characters being kind of bland and having no personality, so I wonder what the larger reception to the game will be like, but if you're a JRPG fan like me, this is definitely of interest. Other games begin with Bridges and Docks, a cozy-looking city builder game that has you constructing islands following in the footsteps of games like Townscaper, but critically has actual objectives and looks very pleasant. The Dadish series of 2D platformers have always been adorable, and in a very natural progression, we have the release of Dadish 3D this week and will be for fans of the genre. A neat-looking survival sandbox crafting title is Minicology, looking kind of like Terraria, so I wonder what's new in this. I've seen this game pop up a number of times in the comments, so I know that some of you are eagerly looking forward to Moonlight Pulse, a Metroidvania that stars multiple characters and seems neat, being the hidden gem of the week.
Do not go gently! Resist and fight!
Shown off at the III Initiative Showcase is Ravenswatch Fall of Avalon, the latest free update to an action roguelite that stars heroes from folktales and legends, adding a third chapter with new enemies, bosses, and so much more. Being tremendously well received in early access, so this should make it even better. Rotwood looks indie but is far from it, since developer Clay Entertainment is fully owned by Tencent, so if anyone is trying to pass this off as an indie game, do call them out on it. But it is Clay after all, so this should be good. It's a roguelite beat-em-up title in which you explore the corrupted forests of the Rotwood with meta progression in the hub area and their signature awesome art and animations. The original Sucker for Love was a surprising hit that had you dating eldritch horrors, and the developer is back with Date to Die For, one that seems to have a much darker tone but should be for fans of the genre. Alright, this next title is published by Electronic Arts, so I don't think this counts as indie, but Tales of Kenzera Zao is a Metroidvania with an African theme of the Bantu culture in particular, with the studio being founded by actor Abu Bakar Salim, best known for being on House of the Dragon, and is also the voice of Bayek from Assassin's Creed Origins, and will be telling a deeply personal and emotional tale. And with the success of the Prince of Persia Metroidvania earlier this year, perhaps lightning will strike twice in a year for Metroidvanias from bigger teams.
You wield a powerful mask. It is the mask of the moon. Baba taught me the ways. Graceful is the flow, a harmony soaked in virtuous intent, the mask of the sun. Baba showed me that to wield it is to harness a most ferocious love, the fiery flames of noble intentions.
Your Baba taught you well?
The moon, the sun. I must embrace the dance.
This shaman shrine means to imbue you with your predecessor's power. Bamba's stone. Harness the energies out. Launch Akida's spear. This power in the wrong hands would be disastrous. Use this power how the others would have wanted. For good. For greatness.
The way you took that rojo out was amazing!
You should not sneak up on people, young shaman.
We are shamans, healers in a land long past healing.
So, you're sweating.
You are more than welcome to take over. Every step, another obstacle, another obstruction.
This will not be easy, shaman. Those before you have tried and failed. All I see before me is a boy. A desperate boy with a desperate plea.
I am a shaman, my father's son, wielding his masks, knowing his ways. I can do this, Kalunga. I know I can.
One of the best games of 2023 is The Last Spell, a roguelite turn-based tactical defense game, and is getting a new DLC titled Dwarves of Runenberg, adding a new system in character race which grants new abilities, along with a new map, weapons, trinkets, and more, making this even better. Love indie games? Sign up to my newsletter to get a weekly dose of what's hot, along with some news and of course, weekly game giveaways, so if interested, link is in the description below. Here's a neat looking automation title in Odd Sparks and Automation Adventure, one that looks kind of 2D Zelda inspired due to the camera angle, with a dose of Pikmin for good measure, since you are leading a bunch of sparks as you explore the world. Interestingly, this is supposed to be targeted at the hardcore factory builder fans and also a group of people that the developer names Automation Curious, so it should be a rather accessible game to jump in as well.
What can you tell me about the Demon Core?
A long-awaited sequel makes it to launch in Phantom Fury, the sequel to Iron Fury from 2019, but notably is under a different developer this time around, although Slipgate Ironworks is a pretty good choice to make a boomer shooter. The original was very much a Duke Nukem-like, with doses of Serious Sam in places, with the interesting weapons being one of the main draws of the game. Our heroine is pulled out of coma and now has to face a new threat, travelling across the USA in search of a legendary artifact known as the Demon Core, battling cyborgs, mutants, and even soldiers along the way. There are vehicle segments, boss fights, and more, and does sure look like shooty bang bang fun. Here's a hotly anticipated Souls-like title named Another Crab's Treasure, in which you play as a hermit crab searching for his shell which was repossessed. It's atypical since it's a very colourful underwater world as compared to the grimdark Souls-like games, but based on the demo, this is a Souls-like title through and through with the stamina-based combat. The underwater enemies like crabs and lobsters look awesome, with the weapons and shells that you can equip and use looking fun as well, and should be a fantastic game. This next title is one of the top 3 most wishlisted games on Steam, next to Black Myth Wukong and Hollow Knight Silksong, and in the build-up to the early access release of Manor Lords, it now has an astounding 3 million wishlists, which at the estimated 10% conversion during the first week of launch means that this easily sells 300,000 copies, which is far greater than most indie games. This is a medieval strategy game that has you ruling as a medieval lord, managing the peasants and directing them to gather resources and construct buildings while you tax them and fortify your little fiefdom. But in times of war, switching to tactical, real-time combat on a massive scale. This looks polished and ambitious in so many ways, hence the interest in the game. And remember when I said at the start of this video that people do love their medieval games? Well, this is the prime example of that and looks to be another massive hit. Surprisingly, on the opposite end of things, I want to give a special shout out to Rusty's Retirement, an idle farming game that lives on your desktop, coming to us from the developer of Haiku the Robot and simply looks awesome. Watch this video for more upcoming pixel art games.